Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the player ratings. Southampton 1, Everton 2 at St Mary's yesterday afternoon. Everton picking up our first away win of the Premier League season. Second win on the bounce, of course. Undefeated now in 7, unbeaten in 7 games. And what a win it was. Coming from behind to win the game, which is always sweet. In what a game that was, again, not particularly eventful. First half was extremely quiet. Second half, as I said, had a period of 5 minutes where Southampton scored and then, 44 seconds later or whatever it was, Everton were 2-1 up. And then, we sat back a little bit and we maybe invited them on a little bit too much and we maybe, gifted them a couple of opportunities that we shouldn't have done. But we managed to see the game out. We managed to, defend well enough. James Tarkowski and Connor Cody, I thought, were phenomenal. Jordan Pickford, as always, absolutely phenomenal. And we come away with the 3 points. First away win I've witnessed as an Evertonian in terms of going away to win a game. It seemed like every time we'd won away, for some reason, I wasn't able to make it. But yesterday was extremely, extremely sweet, of course, to get the 3 points. We have done our instant match reaction. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. It is up on the channel now. But we are going to get straight in to the player ratings. Jordan Pickford, I'm going to give Jordan a 8 today. I'll give him an 8. Not a lot to do, to be fair. I don't think he had much fault with the goal. He had a couple of players in front of him, so he was probably had a little bit of a blocked view in terms of getting down and trying to make the save. But everything he sort of had to deal with, he did deal with. Couple of really, really good saves towards the end of the game to obviously keep it at 2-1. Made a really, really good save at 1-1 as well in that moment where everybody was throwing themselves in the way of the ball just before we scored the second goal. Made one to deny Armstrong, I think, at the end as well with a good strong hand to put it out for the corner. Overall, wasn't massively involved, wasn't called on, anywhere near as much as he was in the Merseyside derby a couple of weeks ago. But, considering it was his first game back since his injury, I thought he was brilliant. I didn't think he put a foot wrong. And whilst he didn't have an awful lot to do, everything that he did, he did well. And everything that he had to do, he did well as well. Distribution, I thought, was good as well. A couple of balls that maybe were a little bit too heavy, but I think for the majority of the game, he didn't really put a foot wrong, so he's getting an 8. Vitaly Mikalenko, I'm going to give Vitaly a 7.5. Again, not massively involved in the game. Did have a part to play in, as I said, in that moment where players were throwing their bodies on the line and throwing absolutely everything that they could at the ball. He managed to get one of the vital blocks in to deny Southampton in that moment as well. And I thought he defended really, really well. As I said, in that first half, there wasn't an awful lot that happened. They weren't particularly offensive, and neither were we. And the goal comes from a mistake from Garner, and again, Vitaly Mikalenko not really at fault for that one either. But everything that he had to do, he did. Every bit of defensive work that he had to do, he did. He was strong. He was, big in the tackle. He lost the ball a couple of times. He lost possession a couple of times when he maybe could have done a little bit better. But, for the majority of the game, I thought he was really, really solid. Put in a really solid performance, really, really solid effort. And just continued his good form this season. Into the centre of the defence then, Connor Cody. Connor Cody's getting an 8.5. Absolutely unbelievable performance by Connor Cody once again yesterday. Not only getting his goal, but proving that he is exactly the type of defender, alongside James Tarkowski, of course, but he is exactly the type of defender that Everton have needed for years. Consistent, a leader, somebody that will throw themselves on the line, somebody that will battle, that will fight, that will bring that desire, bring that commitment, bring everything that we've been missing at this football club for years and years and years. As we said when we signed Connor Cody, he's the thing about Connor Cody, and it's the same with James Tarkowski, and it's what we've really been missing from this Everton team for a number of years, is it's not players that 1 week are going to be an absolute 10 out of 10 performer, but the next week are going to be a 1 out of 10 performer. It's not players that are 1 week going to be, absolutely unbelievable, and the next week an absolute calamity. Connor Cody, James Tarkowski, these are players that will come in and every single week without fail will give you a 7, 8 out of 10 performance every single week without fail. Sometimes there'll be a 10, and sometimes there'll be a, maybe a 6.5, but they'll never be any lower. They'll never be a disaster, and that is exactly what Connor and Tarkowski have brought. And maybe an 8.5 is a little bit harsh for Connor. Maybe a 9's a more, a more deserved score given his goal, and his goal was absolutely fantastic. It's a great knockback by Amadou Onana, and it's a really, really smart, tidy finish by Connor Cody. But defensively, again, yesterday, everything that was put into him, he defended. In fact, I am going to give him a 9 because I've just remembered another moment where they were on the attack, and he just comes across, and not only does he come across and get to the ball first, but he then manages to kick the ball onto the attacker, and it goes out for a goal kick, and it's things like that are just absolutely phenomenal bits of defending that maybe go a little bit unnoticed, but in the grand scheme of things are a game-winning moments. And as Connor said in his post-game interview, it's the best feeling in the world to score a goal, but it's also the best feeling in the world to make a tackle. It's also the best feeling in the world to clear the ball off the line, and Connor Cody has been absolutely phenomenal since joining Everton Football Club, and I am now at this point where get the contract out, get the permanent contract out. Don't wait till January, don't wait till next summer. Get the permanent contract out, get it over to Wolves and get it done and dusted ASAP, because the kid is absolutely phenomenal and I love him. They say don't fall in love with a lone player, but here I am falling in love with a lone player. He's absolutely phenomenal. Again, yesterday he was brilliant, not just for his goal, but defensively. Everything that come in, he dealt with, whether it be in the air, whether it be on the floor. He was fantastic. James Tarkowski next to him. I'm going to give Connor Cody a 9 and I'm going to give Tarkowski an 8.5. Obviously, he didn't get the goal, but I feel like Tarky has gone maybe a little bit under the radar in recent weeks, because obviously the spotlight's been a little bit more on Connor Cody, as I said, with the goal yesterday, with the disallowed goal against Liverpool, and a lot of the sort of highlights are involving Connor Cody, whereas Tarkowski has maybe gone a little bit under the radar in everything else that he does. He's just as important to this Everton team as Connor Cody is, and he's just as much of a leader, he's just as big of a presence, he's just as solid, he's just as reliable, he's just as consistent as Connor is. And again, yesterday, I don't think he put a foot wrong. I really, really don't think he put a foot wrong. Maybe, he was part of that defence that maybe could have closed down a little bit quicker for their goal. But again, it was a bad ball by Garner, and everybody was sort of chasing back at that point. But I thought he was excellent. I thought he was absolutely excellent yesterday. Everything that, as I said, he had to deal with, he dealt with. He was calm, he was cool, he was collected on the ball. And he was, I think what is really sort of, what you can really commend both centre-backs for, and specifically Tarkowski in this, is that when we were 2-1 up with 15-20 minutes to go, and we were sort of, we took our foot off the gas a little bit, and maybe we were a little bit sheepish, and maybe we could have done a little bit better to, not just seeing the game out, because we did see the game out, but, in terms of going at them and trying to get a third, or trying to make it a bit more competitive, I thought we were a little bit poor in that second half, especially after we scored. But one thing that was noticeable was, it was Connor Cody and James Tarkowski who sort of kept that mentality of, we're seeing this game out. As I said in the instant match reaction, there's been many a times in previous years where, if Everton have gone 1-0 down, we don't get back into the game for a start. Never mind, get to a winning position. But if we were to get back into the game and get to a winning position with 20 minutes to go, winning a game away from home, would usually, there'd be, players would be flapping it, there'd be mistakes, there'd be, the nervousness would go through the roof, where I feel like Connor Cody and James Tarkowski, they set the tone of, no, we're winning this game, and we will win this game, because we'll keep it calm, we'll keep it collected, anything that comes in we'll defend against, and again, there'll be no problem whatsoever. And I thought Tarky was really, really good at doing that yesterday. Thomas has donated £5 to the stream. Thank you very much, Thomas. He says, Cam, I'm thinking of getting the yellow shirt with either Cody or Iwobi on the back. I love them both equally, can't decide. Cody was my man of the match. Listen, if I was to get a shirt now and was to have to get a name on the back, I don't know who I'd get, to be honest. I don't know who I'd get, because I think, as I said in the instant match reaction, every week now, you're looking at 4, 5, 6 players that could potentially get man of the match. It's not one or two, it's 4, 5, 6, 7, if not more, that you're looking at thinking, well, they could get it this week, or they could get it this week, or they deserve it this week. Everybody recently has just been absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, Tarkowski is getting an 8.5. Obviously, Cody got the goal, but Tarky, I think, was absolutely phenomenal yesterday as well. Seamus Coleman then at right back, obviously coming in for Nathan Patterson. his first game of the season, and there was concerns, I think it's fair to say, there was concerns about Seamus, whether or not Seamus would be able to step in and, bring what Nathan Patterson has been bringing, whether Seamus would be able to step in and do as good of a job as we know Seamus Coleman can do on his day. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say, I told you so, because that's not what this is about. But I sat here on Friday and said I've got absolutely no worry with Seamus Coleman in this game. My worry comes with 4 or 5 weeks down the line when Seamus has been playing consistently week in, week out, and, he's still playing. My worry was never about yesterday, because Seamus hadn't played in a while, and I knew he'd be able to step in and do a good job. And Seamus, for me, Seamus is getting a 9 as well, because I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. The block on the line to deny the free kick, which, okay, you could argue Jordan Pickford will have had covered anyway, but it's that initiative from Seamus Coleman to know that that ball is going into that area, and that, Jordan Pickford maybe might be a little bit blindsided, or, there's a slight chance that Jordan won't be able to get over and get it. So Seamus makes the blocked header. Couple of times on the ball, he was really, really good defensively. He was excellent, and okay, he didn't do an awful lot going forward, and I think what we saw yesterday was a very Nathan Patterson-like Seamus Coleman performance, in that going forward he wasn't massively involved, but defensively he got absolutely everything right, and that's what Nathan Patterson has been doing in recent weeks. Defensively, he's gotten everything spot on, and Seamus did yesterday, and I thought, considering, pardon me, I thought, considering there was a bit of a worry about him, considering there was maybe a little bit of concern, I thought Seamus was phenomenal yesterday. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. He stepped in, he done a brilliant job, and he deserves all the credit in the world, because he really, really led yesterday. And don't get me wrong, we've got other leaders in that team now in Tarkowski and Cody, but Seamus really, really, really led yesterday by example, and I thought he was phenomenal. Into the midfield then, Amadou Onana. I'm going to give Amadou Onana a 7.5. Again, really, really, in fact, no, I'm going to give him an 8 for the assist, but really, really solid performance. Used his power, used his height, used his physicality in an awful lot of situations to win the ball back, or to control the ball, to keep it under, to keep it under control and to keep the pressure on. I thought he was very, very impressive with the ball at his feet in terms of his movement. I thought he was very, very impressive out of possession in terms of getting back into the right areas and throwing the tackles in and breaking up the play. And I thought his goal was, his assist for Conor Cody's goal was absolutely phenomenal as well. Really, really good header back. Really, really clever header back. I pointed this out in the instant match reaction, because sometimes, sometimes these things can go a little bit under the radar of these little moments, and it was an opportunity that for Amadou Onana to get his first Everton goal if he'd have headed towards goal, but he felt in that moment, that was a split-second decision, that the best option was to head it back across goal into the space in which Conor Cody and Neil Maupay behind them were occupying. And it was a really, really, really good decision. It was the right decision. It was a really, really good header back in. And it was a comfortable but absolutely fantastic finish by Conor Cody as well. And Amadou Onana ultimately deserves massive, massive amounts of credit for being able to spot that and being able to, convert that as well. And I thought he was great yesterday. I really, really do. On to Adisa Garner then. Garner's getting a 9. Now, Garner would have probably gotten a 10 if it wasn't for the pass that led to their goal. It was silly. It was, it was wrongly timed. It was wrongly weighted. It was, it was a poor decision by Garner. But everything else about his game was brilliant yesterday. His break-up play, his movement, his battle, his commitment, his desire, everything else about his performance, everything else about his game was just brilliant yesterday. And maybe he goes under the radar a little bit because obviously he does everything so elegantly, and everything's just, it's done, and it's almost like that's what Garner does. So, we don't really have to sit here and talk about it an awful lot because that's just Garner gay. That's what Garner does. But I do feel like we have to talk about it because it was great, and that's what we've missed in the last 3 years since he's not been here, is somebody that can just step in when opposition players are attacking and just stick a foot in, just put a foot in, just stick a foot in, break up the play, and do it so nonchalantly and so comfortably as if it's the easiest thing in the world to do, and it isn't the easiest thing in the world to do, but Garner makes it look like it's the easiest thing in the world to do. And I thought yesterday, as I said, barring the pass that led to the goal, I thought yesterday he was absolutely excellent. Iwobi is getting a 8.5 as well. Again, I didn't think it was his most lively game this season. Having said that, he was still absolutely excellent, which just shows that, we can now sit here and talk about an Alex Iwobi performance where he wasn't as good as he has been recently, and yet he's still an 8.5 out of 10. Getting about the pitch, moving the ball around, battling, working hard. Defensively, he was everywhere once again. We sit here often and we talk about Alex Iwobi and we applaud his ability going forward and we applaud his ability with the ball at his feet. He obviously got got the assist for Dwight McNeil's goal, which was an absolutely fantastic cross in. Should have been a penalty on Onana for a start, but obviously Dwight McNeil finished it brilliantly. But his overall work rate, his defensive work rate, his defensive ability, just everything yesterday was absolutely spot on by Iwobi. And he did sort of tire towards the end of the game, and you could see that maybe some of the international games he's played have taken a little bit of a toll on him, and there was a couple of misplaced passes, but nothing worth sitting here and having a go with him about. Overall, he was absolutely phenomenal again. And he deserves all of the credit and all of the plaudits that he gets, because again, I love Alex Iwobi. I absolutely do. I think he's great. I think he's absolutely great, and he deserves all of that credit from yesterday. Onto the forward line then. Demarai Gray. I'm going to give Demarai Gray I'm going to give him a 6.5. I don't think it was as great as the games yesterday. I think his delivery at times was a little bit poor. His work rate was good. His desire was good. His battle was good. I think maybe, as I said, his final ball maybe wasn't as good as it has been in recent weeks. He wasn't by any sense of the imagination a player that you looked at and you thought, oh, he stunk the gaff out, or he wasn't involved. He just wasn't as involved as maybe you would have liked him to have been, especially in a game that Everton could definitely have created a little bit more and could definitely have, to quote a saying, put Southampton to the sword a little bit more, because they weren't very, very good. They weren't very good yesterday, and they were definitely there, for the taking, and they were definitely there to concede. And I thought Gray maybe could have done a little bit better in that sense, but nothing too much worth worrying about, or nothing too serious. Just wasn't as great as the games. Mopey, I'm going to give him a 7. I thought, again, whilst he wasn't massively involved with creating chances or with scoring chances or in front of goal, I thought his work rate was there. I thought his desire was there. I thought his commitment was there. I thought he ran round winding people up for the majority of the afternoon, which was really, really good to see, because ultimately that is a big part of his game, and that's a part of his game that we need him to show at the football club. But yeah, again, as I said, wasn't massively involved, and maybe the score's a little bit too high considering his job is to be a striker and score goals and create chances, and he wasn't involved in doing that much. But I thought he got about, he wound people up, he worked hard, and he had his role to play, and I thought he played that role really, really, really well. And then Dwight McNeil, I'm going to give Dwight McNeil a 7. Now, some people won't be happy with that, because some people will have watched Dwight McNeil's performance and said, he only, he scored the goal, okay, but he didn't do anything else except from scoring the goal. And I said this in the instant match reaction, and I'll say it again here. It's difficult when you're watching at home. And listen, if you went the game yesterday and you still don't think Dwight McNeil was particularly good, then that's fair enough. But when you watch him on a television and when you're watching at home, sometimes the camera angles and the cameraman and the production don't quite pick up everything that a player is doing in the game. And Dwight McNeil wasn't massively involved yesterday, don't get me wrong. His first half performance was very, very average, in the same sense as that, most Everton players' first half performances were very average, because it was a very average first half from both teams. But in the second half, it wasn't only his goal. I thought he showed a lot more desire. I thought he showed a lot more commitment. I thought he defended a lot better. I thought he showed a lot more determination to get to balls and to throw tackles in and to put himself in the way. I just thought he showed a lot more yesterday than what he ever has in an Everton shirt before. And there's a lot to be said about that, because it's okay sitting here saying, yeah, Campbell still wasn't great, but it's an improvement. We've seen him score the winning goal, and we've seen him showing improvements. We've seen him step in there and do his bit. work hard, battle, show that desire, show that commitment, and get the winning goal. And I think he deserves to be praised for that. I really, really do. His goal was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It's a good ball in by Iwobi, and as I said, it's what you would call, I think, what you would call in the industry a twat of a strike. It's an absolute thunder. See you next Tuesday into the back of the net, and it's a brilliant goal, and it was a goal that was deserving of winning the game. Onto the substitutes bench then. Anthony Gordon, I'm going to give Anthony a 6.5. I think he come on, worked hard, put himself about a little bit, won a couple of fouls. Obviously he missed the game due to I don't think he was feeling too good before it. But, he come on, he put himself about, he worked hard, he gave them something to think about, he gave them something to worry about. And he done exactly what he needed to do when coming on, by the way, and that was disrupt the play, pick the ball up, run at them, give them something to worry about in that final 15-20 minutes, and I thought he'd done that. Abdoulaye Doucouré, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I'll give Anthony a 7, actually, because I thought he was a bit more involved. I'll give Abdoulaye Doucouré 6.5. Again, come on, touched the ball a couple of times, moved it well, wasn't massively involved, but again, just added that little bit of fresh legs, that little bit of, pace into the midfield, height into the midfield as well, which I think was needed at that time. Tom Davies, again, come on, disrupted the play, moved the ball well, put himself about, worked hard. He's going to get a 6.5 as well. I thought he interrupted the play really, really well when he needed to, and he provided those fresh legs at a time when we really, really needed them in the second half. And then Solomon Rondon, he can get a 6. He come on, he put himself about. He should have won a foul, which maybe would have led to a red card. He didn't, but yeah, he ran about. He added that physicality, and as I said, he gave Southampton again something extra to worry about in those final moments of the game. But there you go. They are the player ratings. Let us know your thoughts on them in the comments section down below. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. If you're watching live, big thank you all. Sorry I couldn't get involved in many comments, but I've actually got to go on a Sunday walk to get rid of this rosé wine hangover. If you are watching the YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below. I'm going to get involved with as many of them as we can. But anyway, big thank you for watching. Leave a like if you have enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you later.